Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Field of 68's last call.
What's your go-to Applebee's order?
I don't go to Applebee's. We actually call it Crapplebee's, to be honest.
Who's the better team right now, Creighton, Marquette, or UConn?
Con.
What are you doing? What is that? Pray for Fanta. Oh, come on, Zach. Here we go. It's last call.
Welcome to Last Call. My name is Rob Doster. That is Jeff Goodman. We are the Field of 68, and this is Last Call here on Stadium. We are going to be answering your questions, so jump in the chat, fire away. We're going to.
Where are we, Rob? Where are we?
Boca Raton.
No, where are we?
FAU.
Where are we, Rob?
Florida.
Rob?
Eleanor R. Baldwin Arena,
There you
baby.
go.
The
Don't
one
leave
and
me hanging.
the one and only building that is hosting the first ever Field of 68 tip-off. We saw Charleston beat up on Liberty tonight. Tomorrow, we're going to Charleston going up against number 13 FAU, who is number 1 in Jeff Goodman's heart right now. Make sure you jump in the chat, fire away, ask us questions. We're going to be answering them. Before we do, it has been an unbelievable night in college athletics tonight. Number 1, Purdue goes down at Northwestern. Our producer, Dagan Hughes, has never celebrated as hard as he did tonight when Washington knocked off Oregon. He's saying they're a lock to make it to the college football playoff. I don't know enough about the college football playoff to know if that's going to happen. He's telling me it is. So if I'm wrong, blame him. I think we need to start in Lawrence, Kansas, with the first top 5 battle in 60 years between the last 2 national champions. Goodman just brought up the actual Eleanor R. Baldwin on his laptop. It is a very funny picture. Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right.
I'm just trying to
Look,
do a little research here.
during the Field of 68 after dark, we spent a lot of time talking about the Kansas side of this, right?
Yes.
I think it's very clear. They have 4 guys that are good enough to be able to call them the best team in college basketball. They're missing somebody at that wing, that 2 spot, Nick Timberlake, Elmarco Jackson, Johnny Furphy, somebody there, right? The more interesting conversation to have here for me is the UConn side of things. Tristan Newton was unbelievable tonight. He had 31 points, 10 for 18 from the floor, 6 and 9 from 3, 5 for 8 from the free throw line.
Yeah.
But a lot of what he got, I don't want to say it was lucky because he made the shots, but it's like when you're relying on Tristan Newton, crossover between the legs, step back, 23-footer. If that's what you need to be able to hang with Kansas, who is a flawed basketball team right now, and you don't get anything from Alex Caravan, you don't get anything from Cam Spencer. I know he was banged up. You don't get the production offensively you wanted out of Donovan Clingan. You still don't have Steph Castle. Do we have to have a conversation about where this UConn team is right now?
Yeah, I mean, again, I've kind of thought that from the beginning. Like, this team, now last year, preseason, nobody thought UConn was going to be a team that cut down the nets in April. They got better. I just kind of look at them, and I'm still like, they're not overpowering in any means right now, right? They're not. Mm-hmm. Tristan Newton's been great, but like the rest of the team, Caravan have been really good for the most part this year, but they're just not overpowering. Like Cam Spencer's a really good college player. I think Caravan's a really good college player. I still think the jury's going to be out on your Alex Caravan first-round pick deal, right?
Yeah, he's going to be like a top 45.
Yeah, I think he's probably a second-rounder at the end of the day. I think there's still upside, but I think the upside resides with Castle. Mm-hmm. He's the X factor. If there's an X factor, this UConn team taking him to a different level, and I really think this time that he's missed is really going to hurt him in UConn because it's going to take time now. Like, it's going to take time. Can they get him going?
I think they will. And you're 100% right. I do believe that he's the offensive explosiveness that you don't have right now. He is the guy that can kind of break you down off the dribble and create something. He is the on-ball, take you away defense. Like, Kevin McCullough doesn't have 21 points tonight, doesn't get wide open threes tonight if Steph Castle's out there to kind of slow him down. I've also been saying this since the start of the year. I think UConn is closer to a back-end top 10 team than like a top 2, 3 team in college
there are a bunch
basketball.
of those. But there are a bunch of those.
Yeah, but also I will also say this. Cam Spencer rolled his ankle in the first minute tonight and was not himself. He had been fantastic coming up. Like, not good, fantastic, better than anybody could have thought. Alex Carabin has not shot the ball well. I don't think Alex Carabin is going to spend this entire season as like a 22% three-point shooter, right? I think this is just kind of in a bad way. Donovan Clingan struggled tonight, putting up the numbers against Hunter Dickinson, had the impact defensively I think that you need him to be able to have. To me, I think that Tristan Newton showed up. The other guys didn't show up. And I'm sitting here and I'm ready to put that on.
What if they are what they
out.
are? What if they are? What if Donovan Clingan is what he is?
I mean, he is. He's never going to be – this idea that he's going to be a guy that you throw the ball into 16 times a game and he goes out there and he just 3 dribbles down, pump fake, up and up. Like, that's not what makes him great. Where he is great, where he is elite, is as a rim runner, as a lob target, as a guy that can wall up around the basket and play drop coverage and be an absolute I call him the Great Wall of Bristol, right? There's nothing that you can do around the basket when he's in there because he's just so big and so good at being in the right spot. But he's not a Domas Sanogo. You're not throwing the ball to him and having him take 4 dribbles, back you down, and make a move. That's not his game.
You know what's amazing?
That's not what you want him to do.
If I had told you that Kansas would go 9 for 14 from 3, what would you have said? In Fog Allen
They
tonight.
win by 30.
Correct.
They win by 30.
And it just shows you that there's not a dominant team. Like, Kansas is not that. UConn's not. There's no dominant team. Purdue is obviously not that. We saw them lose to Northwestern tonight in Evanston.
All right, let's talk about that Purdue team, right? How worried should we be, not just about Purdue, but about the Big Ten as a whole, right? We've kind of – you talked about those, Robbie Hummel, a lot. Like, the Big Ten is not great.
It's the little 10
year, right?
this year.
Yeah, the little 10, the mid-10. But if you're not going to have that great Purdue team, that's absolutely insane. And look, I don't think it's a great sign that they lost at Northwestern. It's also an overtime road loss in league play. That stuff is going to happen sometimes in the sport, right? I think it's a concern that I'm going to say this stat again. They had more turnover. Purdue had more turnovers in overtime than Northwestern had in the entire game. That kind of sums up the issues with this Purdue team. Let's just say that this is more an example of Purdue not being great than just for argument's sake.
Could it be a matchup issue, Rob? Because this is the
I just
second
want to know,
straight
like,
year.
if it's not well, the 100% is a matchup issue. But
Style.
if Purdue's not great, what does that say about the Big Ten as a conference?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you look at it and you say to yourself, all right, Michigan State has not looked great, right? They were the other team that was supposed to kind of carry the mantle for the Big Ten this year. And Tal Izzo's team has, frankly, not looked very good. Indiana, yeah, they pounded Maryland, but, like, we don't know if that's any good. Maryland's been atrocious this year, right? Like, Ohio State's been pretty good lately. Like, they might be the second best team in the league right now.
So here,
Michigan,
let's
not
get into
great.
Let's get into some of the questions from the chat, because this is a perfect segue to a question from Andy, and he said,
Is this
"Here,
Katz about the Big Ten?"
yes, it's from Andy Katz. Here we go again with Purdue. How concerned
It's not Katz.
should I be?
It's definitely not Katz.
It's not Katz.
It's negative about the Big Ten.
Yeah, no.
It's definitely not Katz.
I love you, Andy.
Just saying.
How concerned should a Purdue fan be about Purdue right now?
Like, not that concerned. I mean, listen, they're going to win a ton of games in the regular season. Like the key is figuring out, if you're Matt Painter, who you're going to play alongside Zach Edey. And, like, enough of this revolving door stuff. You got to figure that out. And maybe it's going to take him another 5 or 10 games. But by February 1st, Rob, Matt Painter has to know, like, this is who I'm riding with. Because ultimately, you're going to play in the NCAA tournament against a team that's the first game, they're going to play against probably a 16, maybe a 15 seed. Smaller team again.
Here's what I'm going to say.
How are you going to beat them? How are you going to beat them?
Here's what I'm going to say. This is a lot of more of the same. I'm also willing to sit here and say that this was a road loss in overtime. And look,
maybe a tournament team.
Can we give some credit to Boo Booey? Like
Right.
sometimes
He's awesome.
dudes just go off, and he had 31-9. Boo Booey was awesome. Listen, on the other side of this break, we have 17 questions queued up in the chat right now. We're going to answer every single one of them. Welcome back to Last Call here at Eleanor R. Baldwin Arena on FAU's campus. We were here live for the Field of 68 tip-off. Charleston, Liberty, they played today. Tomorrow, we have Charleston playing a road game against number 13 Florida Atlantic in what is going to be an absolutely bonkers environment here on a Saturday night in Boca Raton. I will tell you this much. If it's a Saturday in South Florida, when it's as nice as it is here, those students, they will be doing quite a bit of imbibing before this game starts.
You think we can do the game and then maybe hit a bingo game after around
I was
Boca?
thinking shuffleboard.
I don't know.
I'm a big shuffleboard guy.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
I will light you up. I will light you. Bingo is
I've
all
never
about
played
luck.
shuffleboard.
Bingo is all about luck. Shuffleboard, that takes some talent. All right. Thing about Last Call here, we answer your questions if you fire them in the chat right now, and we have a lot of good ones. We have about 23 right here on my list. So we're going to try to get to all of them. I can't make any promises because they keep filling up. But question number 1, is Kentucky a top 5 team in America right now?
Oh, boy. They might be right now. They might be. I mean, listen, they're right there, right? Like, to me, again, you look at it closely and you say Houston, Arizona, Kansas.
I would put –
you have to put Kansas. They beat them.
I would put Marquette above them. And
Marquette.
Then that's when you start getting into the
– Who wins?
Kentucky,
FAU, Kentucky.
Kentucky,
Who
Purdue, FAU. So I don't
They're like in that 5 to 8 range.
If you put Kentucky as the number 5 team in America right now.
I'm not arguing with you.
I would not argue with you.
Right.
I would probably have them in like the 7 to 8 range, maybe a 9 range. But the difference between the number 1 team in the country this year and the number 9 team in the country this year is like not that much. You know what's great about this season is we probably have 10 teams that are the 7th best team in America in a normal year. We don't have one team that is the best team in America in a normal year. And maybe that's the wrong way to phrase it. Maybe we have like 10 teams that are normally like a top 3 team in America. Because I do think that college basketball as a whole, as everyone's getting older, as everyone's able to hit the transfer portal.
Here's what's happening, obviously, all the turnover. But you look at a Purdue team and you're like, they didn't have much turnover. Why are they losing early in a game like this, right? They had everybody back other than really Lance Jones.
Boo Boo went for 31-9.
I know, but don't you know you're Purdue? Like, Lance Jones can't slow down. That's what you got Lance Jones for, isn't it?
So, to make some shots and sometimes miss shots.
You also made him – you got him for defense.
Yeah.
You got him because he's the perfect guy to be able to slow down Boo Boo. Well, he was not the perfect guy.
No one was slowing down Boo Boo tonight. Maybe Boo Buie's just the second coming of Steph Curry, and we're all sitting here and we haven't caught up to it yet. That might just be
All
what
right,
the truth
next
is.
question.
Question number 2, and this is a really, really interesting one to
Okay.
me because it plays into this idea of whether or not the number 1 team in the country is going to be the number 1 team in the country when we get to Monday.
Yeah.
Who has a better backcourt, Arizona or the Kentucky Wildcats?
Kentucky. And I love Kai Boswell. I love him. But Kentucky, it's like power in numbers. Dillingham and Shepard, to me, and Antonio Reeves can shoot the hell out of it, and DJ Wagner can get downhill. They got like 4 dudes. Am I missing anybody? Those are the 4, right?
Yeah.
They're different. They're all different. That's what I like about
Well,
them.
they basically have 2 starting backcourts,
Yeah.
and both those starting backcourts are good enough to be in the conversation for like top 10 in
And if
America.
somebody's having an off night,
Mm-hmm.
John Calipari can basically go with a hot hand. And to me, I'm going with Reed Shepard almost every night because he doesn't have to score to impact. Those other guys, I feel like they've got to make shots to really impact.
The one thing I will say is I think Reed Shepard's probably the best defender out of that group, but I do think that
Positional,
overall,
right.
overall he is a fantastic, like on everything. But I do think that overall, Arizona has a better defensive backcourt than Kentucky does.
They have a better
But
defensive team.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
I think,
they're older, like Keyshawn Johnson. Like they've got guys who have played college
as
basketball.
crazy as this sounds, I think there is one team in America that has a better backcourt than Kentucky does right now, and that's Marquette.
Yeah.
And that's Marquette.
Yep.
And
Yeah, I trust Tyler Kolek more than anybody else, and Cam
and
Jones when
is
he
a
gets it going.
monster.
Yep.
Cam Jones.
Yep. Hey, no,
friend of the field of 68.
Friend.
Friend of the field.
Well,
of 68.
might have
I'll
some
just say
news.
that, yeah. All right. Now I want to go back to this Purdue thing because now that Northwestern has a win over the number 1 team in the country, where would you rank Northwestern in the Big Ten hierarchy? How high are they? Can they finish second? Like, is it crazy to say
Could they?
that they can make a run to finish like top 3,
I'm
top 4?
gonna give you the Doug Gottlieb answer when you ask. Could they? Yes. Will they? No. That's what Doug says.
That's a good way to answer a question without answering a question.
Right. Well, I mean, like they could, but I don't think they're going to at the end of the day. I don't think they have enough overall. It took Boo Buie having an incredible night, which he's got in him, but I don't see it. I don't see it at the end of the day. I still think Michigan State finds a way to finish second. Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't know. I just trust Tom Izzo.
It's so weird to me right now looking at the Big Ten standings
Maryland.
and seeing Northwestern in first place and Purdue and Maryland in last place. I know. Look, we've had 2 Big Ten games total all season long, but that's just very weird for me to sit here and look at. All right, South Carolina, 7-0 start.
Yeah.
This question is from Joe.
Good, Joe.
Are
What
the
do you got?
Gamecocks for real?
I like South Carolina a lot. I will admit I gambled a lot with South Carolina's players in Lamont Paris down in Bahamas, and they're fun, man. BJ Mack, it's a riot. Like, they don't really know how to play blackjack, but I know, and I lost a ton of money, and I don't think they had any clue, and they won money.
That's how blackjack normally goes.
I know.
I
They
will
just
say,
haven't. Who have they beaten? All right, let's go through it. I mean, they beat Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech has not been good, by the way.
No.
They're not athletic. They're not very good. They beat DePaul. DePaul stinks. Notre Dame stinks. They beat George Washington, like decent A-10 team, but jury's still out on them. So here's what I will say: South Carolina, you've beaten everybody you needed to beat, but there's no.
we're gonna find out Wednesday. We're gonna find out Wednesday. They go on the road.
Yeah,
to
to
Clemson.
Clemson. No,
which sounds very weird to say. We're gonna find out if a team is good by going on the road to Clemson. I will say this: I've been surprised and impressed with what they've been so far this year, and I think that when you are able to build a team around something other than catering to the youngest player in all of Division I basketball. And look, I think G.G. Jackson's going to end up having a good pro career because he's talented. But I think when you don't have to cater to a 17-year-old and hoping he's going to be good enough, I think that's really good for your
just
team
need wins.
overall.
Just
yeah,
need wins.
And you need wins for Lamar Paris. Listen, this is Last Call here live on Stadium. We are the Field of 68, answering more questions next. Welcome back to Last Call here on Stadium. My name is Rob Doster. His name is Jeff Goodman. We are the Field of 68, and we are live from Eleanor R. Baldwin Arena on the FAU campus here in Boca Raton, Florida, for the Field of 68 tip-off. Goodman, we are answering questions. They are all coming in on the chat. We got about 6.5 minutes left here. We're going to try to get all the questions that have come in. We're going to start with this one from Brady.
Yep.
Marquette plays Wisconsin tomorrow. Thoughts on that matchup?
Can I just give you one piece of pertinent info before we go there?
Absolutely not.
Do you know where Eleanor Baldwin was from? Do you know where she got her master's from?
South Florida.
Northwestern.
Everything's coming full
Everything's
circle.
full circle right now.
Marquette plays Wisconsin tomorrow. What do you think?
I mean, listen, it's in Madison, in-state rivalry. I'm not writing Wisconsin off. In fact, I think this is kind of a flip of the coin game. I keep going back to the fact that I trust Tyler Kolek. I trust him. Chucky Hepburn's a good point guard. Tyler Kolek's a great point guard. He's tough as nails. I just don't think he loses this game and this rivalry right now. I think they're too good.
Yeah, I'm in on Marquette here.
And Kolek is just so focused. He's laser focused. He knows what he needs to do.
Well, here's
in that game.
Here's my biggest thing. The reason why the line is going to be where the line is going to be is because Wisconsin at MGM it's 1. And that's because Wisconsin is a metric starling because they beat Virginia by 24. I'm not in on Virginia. I don't think Virginia is really all that good. I don't think a 24-point win over them is really all that impressive.
Remember when Wisconsin Ken Pom hated Wisconsin a few years ago.
Yeah. Do you remember when Wisconsin was down by 32 to Providence on the road, and Providence put in their subs, and they cut a 32-point deficit to 13
was that the lucky
for the final?
Was that the lucky?
I think if that was if Wisconsin was down by 32, they lost by 32, that game wouldn't be the same. So I think that this is a little bit of a metrics fluke. I think that if you can get Marquette -1 on the road at Wisconsin over on BetMGM, that you should bet Jeff Goodman's mortgage on it. All right, next question from Sam. Cincinnati. In the Big 12, that is as tough as this Big 12 is, are they a tournament team?
Boy, I don't think so. I think they're probably a year away, but they got a young guard. They're playing Jizzle James a lot because of necessity. They don't have a ton of depth at that position. I don't know. I mean, listen, they're 6-0 right now, right? But who have they beaten? Nobody. They haven't played anybody yet Illinois,
Put
Chicago,
a little
Detroit.
respect on Damon Stoudemire's name.
Like
Put
Damon,
a little respect on Damon Stoudemire's
Damon's
name.
gonna get them going, but year one, they're not ready. So they haven't played anybody. They got to play, obviously, the Crosstown Shootout here soon, December 9th, Saturday. I don't think we're gonna know. I think he did a good job scheduling, because what he said is we're in the Big 12, and if we somehow go 500 in the Big 12,
Well, think about what the top of the
doesn't matter
conference
what
is.
we do.
You got Houston, you got Baylor, you got Kansas, you got Texas, you have Oklahoma, who looks like they're really good. You have BYU, who might actually be really good. You have TCU, you have Texas.
By the way, have you seen? Can I read you TCU's?
Oh, they played nobody.
Can I read you
They
the
played
Ken
nobody.
Palm numbers of who they
Yeah,
beat?
it's like it's averaging like 320.
310, 266, 317, 362, 283, 359. Honestly, hey, they should. Can they relegate Jamie Dixon? They should be relegated with that
I
garbage.
just
That's garbage.
Can we lock this moment in time? Can I get a freeze frame? Can I clip that out? Producer Trevor, clip that out. Jeff Goodman went to KenPom.com. Not only did he go to KenPom.com, he bought a subscription to KenPom.com.
It expires
and
on
read out
January 21st.
KenPom stats live on a show on the Field of 68.
Yeah.
Think about that
Kenny
for a second, ladies and
Pom-Poms.
gentlemen. Think about that for a
You're
second.
gonna
All
get
right.
your $40 or
Here's
whatever
our
it is
next
for me
question.
again in January.
This is the biggest question of the night that you're going to get from Dagan Hughes. This is
From Dagan.
this technically goes to BetMGM.
What?
Why was undefeated number 3 Washington a 10-point underdog in the Pac-12 championship game against Oregon?
How would I know the answer to that?
Why were they? I'll
Why
tell you
was
why.
Washington?
Because
Is it
it is the holiday season, and BetMGM just wanted to make sure that we all got a little bit of money. They realize that it's tough times for a lot of people, a lot of financial stress during the holidays. So they wanted to make sure that we all had a chance to be able to maybe go buy some of our children's presents. I got my kids presents. I got my daughter a stuffed owl. I got my son an FAU basketball. I'm doing good dad stuff. And part of the reason I did that is because I may or may not have put a couple shekels down on Washington to beat Oregon, the greatest team to ever beat. Last question we got from you, and this is from Andy Cat. This is from Andy Katz. Was this actually Andy Katz in the chat? The question is, why are all 14 teams from the Big Ten going to make the dance?
Should we have Vlad answer this? Vlad's going to say they're not. They're not.
Sorry, Andy, I got set up.
Josh Pastner once said that every ACC team's going to make it.
Josh Pastner is the most relentlessly positive person I've ever met. I will not tolerate any Josh Pastner slander on this show. Josh, don't worry. I got you back. I'm not going to let him talk any junk about you, okay? Listen, this has been the Field of 68's last call on Stadium. We are here every night, Monday through Friday at midnight to 12:30, answering your questions. Field of 68 After Dark. We're coming back tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. on Saturday, right here, Eleanor R.
Ellie.
Baldwin.